morning, I'm Sunetra Choudhury, political editor of the Hindustan Times, bringing you all that you need to know about COVID-19 on Friday, the 26th of June. First up, a look at the numbers. In just the last 24 hours, we've seen 17,810 new cases, showing just how serious things are across the country. In number of deaths, we are now at 15,306, which brings us to our top stories. How are the metro cities doing? Remember, crowded urban spaces have been the worst hit. And to look at how Mumbai, Delhi and Chennai compare. Well, last month we saw Mumbai seeing an early spike. They were rising, but since then it seems the number of cases in Mumbai has now plateaued off. In fact, Delhi has now overtaken Mumbai with more than 70,000 cases. Chennai, of course, has been steadily rising, but its numbers are lower than these two cities. So if you look at the doubling rates between these three cities, then it's interesting. Delhi is doubling the number of cases in just 12 days. So that's the worrying thing. If you look at Chennai, it's better off than Delhi. It's doubling in 19.4 days. But Mumbai, which was previously doing so badly, is now so much better at doubling at 40 days. So that's something to keep in mind, how the hotspots and the worstest cities are changing according to time. And hopefully Delhi also reaches its peak and death starts plateauing. Well, speaking of things being serious, it's perhaps the reason why the government has now announced that the regular train services, which were suspended till the 30th of June, that suspension has now been extended till the 12th of August. It means at the moment, only the trains which are running, which are the 15 pairs of Rajdhani trains and the Shramik Express, the trains, special trains for migrant laborers, only they will continue. That means even suburban trains, which many were thinking is needed for economic activity to restart, they will continue to remain suspended till the 12th of August. And speaking of economic activity, Nomura India's Business Resumption India says that it has gone back to 70% of pre-lockdown levels. The base level is being seen as what the economic activity was in February. The other thing that they're saying, which is good news, is that unemployment rate is also at 8.5%, which is now equivalent to the pre-lockdown levels. Of course, it's still a little lower in urban areas, but in rural areas, they're saying it's much lower than what it used to be pre-lockdown levels. So that's the good news. Of course, the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, has now said that the economy is going to shrink by 4.5%. Initially, it had said that India will go at 1.9%. And for the next year, which is 2021, they're saying the growth will be at a modest 6% instead of the 7.4% that IMF had predicted earlier. So, sobering news when it comes to the economy. Some better news now, and that about vaccines. Yesterday we had talked about how the Oxford vaccine is now nearing completion. It's at the final stages and they expect it to be out by the end of the year. But a concern is, when will it reach everybody across the world? Well, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness has said that they can produce 4 billion vaccines every year, because they've identified manufacturers of 9 potential vaccine candidates, and they're saying they're going to have 2 to 3 manufacturing plants for each of these, so it will ensure that vaccines get to people as soon as possible. And finally, the thing to look forward to of things going back to normal in these pandemic times, the Eiffel Tower, which hasn't seen such a long shutdown, a shutdown of 104 days, since the Second World War, has now reopened again. Now, while it's reopened and it let back in lots of visitors during the summer season, the elevators, of course, are not back there, because they're saying at this point of time, elevators are still a health hazard. So people have to climb up and sweat it upstairs if they want to see the glorious view of Paris. Those are the news updates for now. Keep tracking them on hindustantimes.com.